Hi everyone, it's Julie from Sprouts and Stems here. It is nighttime. I usually do try to film during the day, but sometimes you just want to film at night, you know? Sometimes you're just not feeling it during the day, so it's a little dark. Today's video is going to be a Philodendron Micans care guide. This plant has always been in my favorites, like my top favorite plants list. It's just so pretty, and I'll be showing you more close-ups, so don't worry. But yeah, so today's video is going to be Philodendron Micans care guide. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of plant care videos like this one, propagation tutorials, and also just like planty DIY, planty decor projects. Those are just other little things that I have fun with and really like to share with you guys. So yeah, let's get started. So Philodendron Micans is actually a really easy plant to care for. Like philodendrons in general are pretty easy plants, but I've actually found the Micans in particular to be like so easy, at least for me to grow. And I know everyone has like easy plants, their own easy plants and their own hard plants, but I will tell you exactly what to do in this video, so don't worry. But I do feel it is like a really easy plant to grow, and it's also unique. It's nice if you're looking for a beginner plant, but you know, we love a good heartleaf philodendron, but we also know sometimes heartleaf philodendron can get a little bit boring sometimes. So this is a really nice alternative to just the super easy heartleaf philodendron. This is super easy Philodendron Micans. It's got velvet leaves. The leaves are kind of, they do have kind of like a velvety texture. And sometimes this plant is referred to as a velvet leaf philodendron, but there is another, sorry, I don't want to hit the tripod too hard. There is another philodendron that is commonly known as the velvet leaf philodendron, and that is Philodendron melanochrysum, I think. Is that what it is? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So just know, like, that one's also called the velvet leaf philodendron, but this one is also sometimes called a velvet leaf philodendron. And I'm just coming in right now just to give you a good look at it before I start the official care guide. I mean, are you kidding, guys? Are these leaves not gorgeous? And look, so it's got these beautiful, like, bright emerald leaves, but I don't know if you can see it on camera. There's almost, some of them have almost like turquoise, I want to say, like undertones of like a blue or a turquoise. And it's also very common to have, like, here's a really, it's very common to have like a bronze color. Typically in newer leaves, you'll see a bronze color, like this one down here. And there's even a little bit of like bronze and turquoise undertone in this one. And I also, before I forget, wanted to say that this plant actually grew from four-ish, five-ish cuttings, a few cuttings. And that was about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit over a year and a half ago, but it was definitely less than 2 years ago. One of my planty friends sent me some cuttings from her plant. And yeah, these were literally just cuttings in like a little tiny pot. And they've grown to be this, which is awesome. And of course, I've like snipped off some and put some back in the pot just to make it a little more full. Like there's more than 4 stems growing out of here, as you can kind of see. Yeah, just want to show off how beautiful It is. You can see why this plant has always been one of my favorites. And now we will get into the official care guide. Okay, I want you guys to be able to see like most of it, but I also don't want my head to be like totally cut off. You can see most of it from here, just the pots right down there. Okay, light. Bright and direct light is ideal, but a medium, moderate amount of light is also fine. That's what it gets here. It gets like, kind like if this is low, medium, bright, I would say it gets like here, just because I also have grow lights up there just to supplement the window light, but it would still be fine without the grow lights. And then actually low light, this plant would do okay in low light. Generally, plants with darker leaves are going to do better in lower light. There's no plant that's gonna like thrive in low light, but it should be generally fine. And water. So philodendrons, they're jungle plants. They never want to be totally and completely bone dry. So try to keep it damp, but not wet. You never want the soil to be like soggy, sopping wet. Just keep the soil moist, as you would imagine the floor of a jungle feels. A good rule of thumb, you never want to water on a set schedule. A good rule of thumb is when the top like inch or two, the potting mix dries out, and the leaves will also be, my hand is all dirty. The leaves and stems will also be a little bit droopy when the plant is too dry. And then once you water it and the stems fill back up with water, it'll become perky. Again, that's the word I was going to say. It'll become not droopy again. And humidity. So for jungly plants like these, they're always going to appreciate more humidity, but it's not something that you really need to worry that much about. It's one of those things where it's like, it's beneficial if you have like a greenhouse cabinet or just like a humidifier that you can use for your plants, but it's not something that's going to like kill your plant if you don't have humidity. So humidity is good, humidity is helpful, but don't freak out about it. Potting mix. Now all this needs is just a regular well draining potting mix. It doesn't need anything like super fancy. Well draining, because I know it's like, oh, you said to like keep, like it doesn't want to totally dry out, but it needs something well draining. Yes, because you don't want it to remain wet. You want the majority of the water to drain out, and then it just leaves some light moisture behind. So honestly, any store-bought houseplant potting mix is totally fine. And I usually always like to add a little bit of extra perlite, just because more drainage, like you can't really go wrong, but you don't even need to do that. So yeah, nothing special there. Just a regular well draining mix is fine. Repotting, it's kind of like watering in the sense that you really don't need to do it on a set schedule. It's not like, okay, mark, like I'm repotting today, mark my calendar for exactly 1 year from now and I will repot again. I just go by like how my plants look. If they seem to be looking like they still fit in their pot, which this one obviously does, and if they're growing just fine and they're still happy, then if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? Since this is a fast grower, in most cases you'll have to repot it every year or every other year. This one, I've only had it for, like I said, a year and a half, and I've repotted it once so far. Like I had the cuttings, I put the cuttings in a pot, and then from there I repotted it again to this pot. So I've repotted it once in a year and a half to accommodate the growth. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just pay attention to your plant's needs. If you think it might be time to repot your micans, you can always lift the pot up and look underneath and see if there's any roots that are poking out of the drainage holes. And that means it's time to think about repotting your micans, because the roots are looking for more space. And actually, now that I think about it, I believe that did happen with this one. There were a few roots that were starting to like grow out of the drainage hole. So I knew that it was time for a bigger home for this guy. And next is, I have my list just down here to make sure I don't forget anything. Next is fertilizer. Fertilizer, you don't have to, but it will help the micans. So I fertilize this during the growing season. I want to say once a month. You can fertilize every other week. I just like to err on the side of caution. I will link an affiliate link in the description to the fertilizer that I use. It's just a regular, balanced, like all-purpose houseplant fertilizer. Water soluble, you just mix it in your watering can and then water your plants. Last but not least is climbing. And this is another thing that you don't have to do. I hope that doesn't come off as wishy-washy. Like, I know I've said that a lot in this video, and I say that a lot in general for plant stuff, just because I don't want you to think that like if you don't fertilize every other week exactly, your plant isn't going to grow, or if you don't put it on a moss pole, it's not going to grow. That's why I say like you don't have to, but it could be beneficial if. So philodendrons and other plants that use their aerial roots to climb typically like to be on a moss pole or some sort of support in general, because this is what they do in the wild. Like they'll find a tree and they'll grab onto a tree with their aerial roots and climb up it. Actually, let me see if I can find you an aerial root that is attached. I've actually found that the Micans aerial roots are like pretty teeny tiny. Have you guys noticed that? Or is it just my plant? Yeah, I can't seem to find a good example of an aerial root, but basically you have a moss pole to simulate a tree, and you can tie your plant to it with like twine or twist ties or something, and eventually the plant will attach itself on its own with its aerial roots and climb up the pole. And I got this really cool bendable moss pole just because I liked how it looked and I wanted to try something different. And that brings me to the end of this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. That's kind of a weird angle. I'm trying to show you more of the beauty. I hope you guys enjoyed this good old-fashioned care guide video for one of my all-time favorite plants ever. It's so chic, honestly. Like, I've never thought to describe a plant as chic, but like, come on, it is, right? Do you have a Philodendron Micans? Do you like Philodendron Micans? Do you want to get a Philodendron Micans now? I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and have a great day.